How's it going, guys? Coffee here. Today I wanted to go over the Carino 1 Sparkle build. This build is utilizing the magnetic field and strobe supports on Sparkle in order to hit things a lot of times, as well as using this along with the 80 base wilt damage sequence that you can get on weapons. I'm going to kind of cover a basically entry-level version of this build. There's a lot of them on the hero rankings. If you just go into pro builds while you're on Corino 1, you will find a ton of them. Everyone is playing the exact same thing. They're all running double sparkle here, so you can build this out to easily do SS20 or SS21 with money. So if you want to invest the money, you can go ahead and do that. I just moved my gear over from my Flame Focus Yuga just for something to test to kind of see how it would do based off of like a little entry level gearing, and even just moving over my gear that has a bunch of wasted focus speed mods on them that aren't doing anything on this build, along with just buying some T1 non priceless gear here. I was able to push this build over 1 trillion damage without too much of an issue. If I were to be using this on a proper character, I would have resistances instead of focus speed on both of these, as well as a belt with resistances so that my resistances weren't running around here with like basically zero res here. Everything else, same with the necklace, would be crafted instead of just a triple int neck. I bought this just because it was fairly cheap, so you know, if you have something and you have a character and you have maybe 1000 FE to spend, you can kind of go ahead and get started on this. I guess it's more than that, maybe 2k if you're going to get a good wind rhythm, but without it you can always get one of these that's like a 0.7 instead, and then just get one that's going to be significantly cheaper because of that. So you get a 0.7, they're a couple hundred FE. The supports to get the T0 versions are a couple hundred FE a piece. You can see these here. I just bought these, they're like 160 to 190 each. And then we have the rest of the like the priceless or precise supports. Those are going to be fine. So you can get started on this lower than most other builds, and then you can kind of scale it out all the way to the moon. So the big thing is you do need to make sure you are still focusing on. You do want to make sure you're hitting your reaping cooldown recovery speed. You're still hitting your 500% breakpoints. All the breakpoints are going to be similar to what we had on the Yuga. So if you're familiar with that, you're looking for the same breakpoints on getting your affliction effect, getting your reaping cooldown, recovery speed. It is important to get a corrupted version of these gloves. These are around 600 FE. If you can't afford them, just get a cheap version. They are basically free. But once you can afford these, upgrade these first. Same thing for upgrading your Evil Heart armor. Whenever you can upgrade that as soon as you can. Valerie's Night Strolls, get them whenever you can. But if you can't, then you can always just get yourself a pair of the feline steps. Those work in a pinch to kind of get you started. And then same thing goes. I would just honestly stick with weapons here that are just not priceless, because the priceless bases alone are like 2000 FE each. For the tree itself, you are just going Goddess of Deception, Lich, Psychic, and Shadow Master. You are basically going and building into Blur. For single target, Affliction should be better than Plague here. And then everything else you're getting, you're just doing your standard Reap, stacking Affliction, stacking Attack and Cast Speed for your Wind Rhythm. And then you're just stacking skill levels, things like that, for everything else. So I'll get a tree out with this for something to start off on. For the kind of zoomy version of this build where I'm running around with a frostbitten slate, I'll include some footage for me mapping with this on, just because I was using this as kind of a speed mapper to just kind of level it up through T8 really quick while I was doing the tests for Dark Surge. But if you want to push this build even further or push it out properly, again, just follow the hero ladder. You're going to find plenty of other people that have the build taken further than where I'm kind of getting people off as a jumping off point. So I did want to get something out there for people to show that this is another character. If you want probably a cheaper or the cheapest route to get to SS20, this Corino one is probably going to be the way. It's extremely strong, it hits the damage extremely easily, and then it can just spend all the money on hitting the defenses. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below, and other than that, see you in the next one. Yeah, it's because he has a bad necklace, or he doesn't have it in his memories. Doesn't have it on his memories, or he doesn't have it on his candles. Or he's got a bad necklace. A bad roll on his necklace, one of the two. One of the three, I don't know. Or it's just a tooltip bug on what you're seeing. And you're not seeing... You don't need the corrupted neck, you just need the 40%. You need the max roll. Like, uncorrupted. Yeah. So if you don't have a 40% roll on your neck, it makes it kind of hard to get your stuff. To hit your focus speed, rather.